Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sidharth Kumar. Welcome to my channel, ReviewMagic. This is where we review movies not only from Hollywood, Bollywood, but also around the world. And today we are going to be reviewing the movie October. This is a Bollywood movie that stars Varun Dhawan in the lead. It came out in 2018. And there is a lot to cover, so stick around. Let's first discuss the lineup of people who are in this movie, from acting to even the writing department. As I mentioned, Varun Dhawan is leading in this movie. He goes by Dan Walia. There is Banita Sandhu, who goes by Shiuli Iyer. You have Gitanjali Rao, who goes as Professor Vidya Iyer. The movie has been directed by none other than Shoojit Sarkar. Now, you must be familiar with this name. This is a director behind Piku, Vicky Donor, Pink, and one of my favorite movies of his, Sardar Udham. In the cinematography department, the movie has been captured through the camera lens by Avik Mukhopadhyay. In the writing department, you have Juhi Chaturvedi. So we're going to be talking about all these different departments, review, and what review did I give to this movie. So you need to stick around till the end. So let's get into what is this movie all about. So clearly, I mean, when this movie came out, the title October was intriguing to me. And, just seeing Varun Dhawan along with Banita Sandhu in the poster, it definitely was, a catchy poster. And I wanted to spend some time in understanding, what this movie is. This movie came out a couple of years back, but, I just got a chance to see it. And, we should just talk about what happened in this movie. So it is it's a drama movie with a lot of emotions, intensity, and it's about a bunch of hospitality interns working in Radisson Blu Hotel in New Delhi. And one day an accident happens. Banita Sandhu, she slips from the roof of the hotel and she goes into coma. And Varun gets to know about it later through friends because he's not present during the party. And one of Varun's colleagues tells him that Banita was asking for you before she slipped and fell from the top floor. And this kind of creates some kind of curiosity for Varun Dhawan as to maybe Banita was interested, or I should say Shiuli was interested in him. That's why she was asking for Varun or Danish. And that's when this whole cycle of obsession starts, with making sure that he visits the hospital on a regular basis. He makes sure that, he can be there proactively. He can take care of Shiuli, her family, and that's what the story is all about. What will be the outcome of this story? Will Shiuli really reveal her true feelings for Varun? So what we really notice in this movie is that it keeps you engaged. It has that curiosity building, and that's exactly what I was talking about early in the poster. Is that when you see Varun Dhawan looking at Banita Sandhu, Banita Sandhu is looking straight and Varun is looking left to her, and it leaves the audience feeling that we're not sure what this is movie all about. Are the guy and girl together or they're not? So we'll talk about that when we review the direction. But let's start with the acting department. So as I told you, this is really a movie for Varun Dhawan. He is the magnetic force behind why I wanted to see that movie. And Varun has previously worked in drama movies. Like, one of his favorite movies that I like is Badlapur. He has worked with Sui Dhaga, Kalang. So this, and also movies like Kuri Number One, the typical masala movies that happen in Bollywood. But I have always seen him as a person who's got a lot of potential, and he can deliver a fantastic performance doing drama. But did that scale well with October? Well, as a main protagonist, he does, show that initially this intern comes in, Dan, and he's clumsy. He is unreliable. He gets a lot of warnings from his superiors. He's not really doing a good job. And he does show that. He's funny. He kind of cracks jokes with friends. Someday he's doing housekeeping. Sometimes he's doing laundry. He gets frustrated. He thinks that he can start a restaurant with two of his roommates. But until then, he has to run through this grind. So you see that acting from Varun Dhawan, just like you would expect from someone who is moving around, trying to learn the trade. But there are some areas where you feel that there's a little bit overacting from Varun Dhawan. I just feels like someone of his caliber, he could have maybe portrayed it a little bit better in doing some scenes, which I felt it was something he's just doing it for the sake of it. But overall, I think Varun Dhawan, his transition from someone who is a person who's not serious, at least in the hotel, to someone who becomes extremely serious, focused, and dedicated. I think that transition is very interesting. So Varun definitely, pulls that off well. As I said, he is a magnetic force. You want to come, but there are some scenes where dialogues seem a little bit weak when it's coming out of his mouth. He's not sure his expressions. There are just, I would say, 10 to 20% times that happens, but the rest of the time he's done well. When it comes to Banita, there really is not much from her. She's a British Indian actress, and she speaks very little in the movie early on, and then she has an accent, she goes into the coma, and pretty much, she's just there for the sake of it. So I can't blame her, but I think overall her expressions, the way she acted when she was recovering, when she was at the hotel greeting guests, It was a decent performance, I should say. There's not a lot of expectations that I had from her, and I think you see that in the movie. She's just as a vegetable in the ICU. That's where you see her role, is like she's just she can't speak much, she can't move around, she's immobile, she's always on a chair, and her parents are always, her mom and her siblings are taking care of her. So I think she did blend in that role, but I wish there was something more that she could offer on the table. The supporting cast is pretty good. I didn't have an entire lineup here, but whether it was roommates of Varun, whether it was his superior, his manager, Gitanjali Rao as Banita's mother, I think they did a very decent job in kind of, supporting the main protagonist, Varun Dhawan. All right, so that was about the acting department. I think it was pretty good in my opinion. Let's move to the direction. Now, this is a very interesting topic, guys. This is not your typical a boy meets a girl, and I think that's what the poster is all about, that it just makes you feel guessing. Is the girl going to reciprocate with Dhawan? Is Dhawan going to leave the girl after, spending time with her? How is he going to express his feelings? He's just looking at, and this is exactly what Shoojit Sarkar captures. Like once Varun or Dan gets to know that the girl had asked for him when right before she fell, he becomes obsessed with her. He gets kicked out from the hospitality school, and then he's using his own savings to buy medicines for her. He brings the girl back into her mom's house, and he takes care of her. Like, he feels that there is a responsibility that he owes to the girl. But you don't see much coming from the Banita side. But this can happen. I think that not often you see a movie where it's always rosy. And I think Shoojit Sarkar, who typically goes into these unorthodox, unconventional movies, he tries to capture that. A guy who feels passionate or obsessed with a girl, or it could be vice versa. And how does this story transition? And I think that's the flow, really. It keeps you engaging. You keep thinking, Banita is gonna come back and they're gonna get married. You kind of think that. So he keeps you guessing, and I think the story does flow very well. It's a good topic. It's something out of the ordinary. That's what I really liked. This is not your usual boy meets girl story. And I think the last scene in the movie is really interesting, because unfortunately Banita passes away. And the only thing that Varun has, his Banita's mom says that they're going to wind up and go to Trichy in the south, and she can't take the pot which has the flowers Ultimately, Varun Dhawan takes that pot which has the flowers, and her Shuli means flower. So Shuli, as she used to grow up in the month of October, these jasmine flowers would fall down, and she would get very excited about it. So that's what Varun wants a memorabilia of her. He takes the entire pot with him, and he takes away. That's the last scene, guy. I think it's a very powerful and impactful scene. Is that he's not sure whether the girl liked him or not. He didn't really express his feelings, but he was there as a friend, maybe a better friend than the others. And the only thing he can hope is just take this memorabilia and hope, that's how his destiny is. So Shoujit really and really helps to capture that moment. Ultimately, Varun Dhawan's life resets. When Shiuli goes into coma, he becomes serious. He goes to Manali and he becomes a great manager, overlooking everything around the hotel, making sure guests are having a good time, operations are doing well. And then when Banita dies, he becomes like this dedicated, focused person he's cooking in the kitchen now. So whether you're doing housekeeping, cooking, he transforms into a different sort of personality and hotel manager. So I think the overall story and the way it's picturized, the topic, and as I said, this can happen with anyone. So Shoojit does a good job in conveying those emotions through the protagonists, Varun and Banita. Now, when it comes to the writing department, I think full marks to the writing department. The story was great. It was intriguing. You want to hear, what are they really trying to say now, in terms of dialogues, how the pitch is there. And it's a different story. I mean, you can sit together with your family, you can watch it, and it is a no-brainer, but it is also something that if you're looking to watch a movie, it's going to be okay. But ultimately, as I said initially, there were some dialogues where I said which were weak. There are some strong dialogues in the end as the life resets for Varun Dhawan and he becomes more serious. And that's when you start to see, I think the writing gets more credits in the second half of the story. In the initial, it's more fun, play, it's light, but I think it gets balanced with that heavy, intense aspect. So I think that's about the writing department. Cinematography, I mean, I'm originally from Delhi, and just to see the metro visuals, if you ask a Delhi person, when he looks at the metro, he knows this is Delhi, the surroundings. And I think whether it is day, night, whether it is a morning fog scene, it was well captured through the lens of the cinematographer Avik Mukhopadhyay. I thought it was a decent job. Although some, it is most of the time it was dark. That's what they've shown. I think there was less on the daylight aspect, but that's fine. I think you do want to have a mix of different visuals, and whether it's close, whether it's far, whether it is around the city, the visuals have been captured pretty well, especially inside the hotel, because it's glittering. It's whether Christmas is there, whether your guests are coming, tourists from all over the world. There's that hustle and bustle, and you see all that stuff captured very well. So good marks to the editing department as well. So guys, just to wrap up this story, in my opinion, October is a good story. It does deliver on the promise of Shoujit Sarkar's genius capability, and it is not a commercial movie, if that's what you intended. This is going to appeal to audiences who don't want no nonsense or latka chatka guy running after a girl behind trees. This is a drama movie, and sometimes you may feel that you are in Varun Dhawan's position, and you are also maybe for a moment, maybe for months or years, you have felt that urge, that crush for a girl who is in a state that she can't reciprocate. So it keeps you guessing. So this is a different story, and my marks to her, based on all I just say, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10 in the story. So that's all about me, guys. This is Sidharth Kumar signing up. If you have any comments, you can write it below, or you can subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you soon for my next review. Until then, take care and goodbye.